I for sure wouldn't try to hang it on a magnet on a door and just let it drop. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I understood they were using it as a shield in the Armored MMA. They did it.
Yeah. I've seen people trying to warm pizzas on it.
Yeah. People think it's a shower head.
Yeah.
I like that idea, though. If you see a DCA901 in the wild, send us a picture.
Yeah,
That's a shower.
I always say in broadcast, we don't make our money for things to go smoothly.
No.
We make our money when everything goes off the rails, and it's how we get through it and make sure the user, the viewer at home doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Literally, everything's on fire behind us, and we're just putting those out one fire at a time.
No one sees how the sausage is made or that a finger fell into the sausage.
As long as it tastes good at the end of the day. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Rack. I'm Vince Simino, joined by my co-host Franco Caruso and Hugo Chevrette. Hugo's running the console today. So we're diving into a really cool and super prevalent topic, experiential capture. And honestly, who better to talk about it than our guests from Shure, Everett and Bill Oakley, and they're here to share their experience and walk us kind of through the DCA901, which is a broadcast array microphone. So grab your headphones and pull up a chair and join us for some honest, sometimes nerdy, always fun conversations, all happening behind the rack. Gentlemen, we're really happy to have you guys here, especially to talk about this topic. And who better than you guys with so much experience, hands-on, especially in the world of that type of broadcast capture microphones. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome to the studio, and I think we'll start off with something pretty easy. Let's let all the viewers know a little bit about yourselves and a little brief introduction.
Yeah, that's the hardest question. It's right out of the gate. As you mentioned before, I'm Everett Salyer. I came from a world of broadcast. I was in broadcast for 25 years. I just started my journey at Shure back in April of this year. So specifically brought on board to work with these guys, and I couldn't be happier, man. It's been the best, best time of my life working with these guys. And every single day, I'm intimidated to walk in and like these really great minds at Shure. It pushes me to be better and to learn more and to more than I ever thought. I really thought I would die in broadcast, but it's.
We should have introduced him as Emmy Award-winning Everett Salyer.
Oh, wow.
You're making him blush.
If I had an Emmy, I'd be, my name's Emmy Award-winning Bill.
I like that.
So
That's amazing.
Bill Oakley, I've been at Shure. I think I just got past 25 years. So the Shure just celebrated 100 years, and I'm celebrating a quarter of that, I guess, with them. Been in product management most of my time there. Had a short stint in artist relations, industry relations in LA. I opened their LA office back in 2006 out of Center Staging. Things I've worked on or was product manager for was ULXD from a pro audio standpoint, MXCW from the conferencing system space. Prior to this project, I was in innovation and strategy, which is how this all kind of got started. We'll cover that shortly, I'm sure. And then after kind of doing that innovation and strategy bit, was pulled back into product management to execute this to market.
So many different spaces, many different industry. Well, I'm going to say verticals, let's say, within the AV space.
Started with phono. I was responsible for the DJ stuff.
Wow.
For the first 6 years.
That's why it's so intimidating to work with him. He knows like everything about anything about everything.
Wow.
Yeah, portable wireless. A lot of AD projects. Some of them came to light. Some of them did not. But it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And this whole space of I'm seeing this trend. I actually saw a video not too long ago, no joke, before I even saw you guys being scheduled to give us a seminar today about just this whole like ambience capture and stuff like that. And I'm seeing it's more and more of a trend, and a lot more people, and I realize myself that when I'm watching a sport or whatever, I feel, or even a concert, and just getting the crowd mics, I feel more pulled in, and it sounds minute, and I think it's a lot of people see it as an afterthought, but it's super, super important. So is this a trend that you guys are seeing more and more happening, or?
Yeah, why is it becoming more and more important?
I mean, as an audio company, it's great, but I think it's long overdue. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what do they say? A video conference with audio is a meeting. A video conference without audio is over. You know, right? Audio has been an afterthought for a long time, and there's been a lot of milestones at Shure where we feel we've done our part to not make it an afterthought, because it is important. Video has had a lot of milestones in its development over the last 60, 80 years, whether it's color or whatnot, and audio hasn't really changed in all in that time.
It's true.
And in the experiential part, I mean, it has a lot to do with also the consumer side of what they can listen to. I mean, it doesn't matter what you capture things in. I mean, we're still recording things in music studios at HD, right? But what are they listening it on in the end?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not being pressed to vinyl. It's not being put on tape.
Yeah.
It's going in a poor quality MP3, if that, stream. So audio has definitely been pushed to a lower quality in the recent history, and the video has had to be brought up to a higher quality. And I don't necessarily agree with that. But things are changing. Culturally, different parts of the world are ahead and behind. I think here in the U.S. we're a little behind, but we're catching up.
I think too, we're all in the business of telling stories, right? And it's sometimes easier to just throw in another camera, you know, and help visually tell your story. But really at the heart of storytelling, we are auditory creatures. We're born in an immersive environment, right? Like we have, we don't need anything extra to like be placed in an immersive environment. And then, you know, stories were passed down verbally, right? Until the first recording happened, and then that existed forever. And now we're a part of that process where we can come in and take these stories and document these. I mean, we are at every single major world event that happens. We are there, right? Like, isn't that pretty incredible?
Yeah,
it's true.
And so, like, I just gave myself goosebumps talking about it. It's, you know, it's. We're at the center point of storytelling. And so it is about time, I think, now that we've exceeded the maximum amount of cameras you can put, the maximum amount of Ks you can put behind, pixels you can put into.
What K are we on? 12K? 12K.
We'll be at 100K soon enough. Right?
Yeah. And I've read story about how, you know, the consumer can't really tell the difference between UHD and 8K, right? So like, what do we have left to really create that immersive environment other than audio?
Or bigger screens, right?
Or
wrapped screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you said in your presentation today. Actually, there's more advancements in the video side than on the audio side. So it's definitely interesting that that's the case.
Bill said something today, and it's funny. I think all of us here, we're so in the audio industry and the video industry, and we do this day in, day out. But you made a very good point. You're on a conference call, the video goes down, you still hear the other person, you can still negotiate, you can still have your business meeting. If you're in a major conference call and the audio goes down, your meeting's over. Yeah. You're done. And I was like, you know what? It's funny. We do this day in, day out. But yeah, sometimes it's important to take a step back and realize and make other people realize how important audio is, to your point, whether it's storytelling, business, sharing, experiences, whatever it is. And that's where I think experiential sound comes in, is how do we include people, or how do we bring them into the center of that experience?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So that was a good point.
Do you remember the televisions with the rabbit ears? Everybody remember that? Right? And you would watch television, and it's as snowy as the picture got. You would sit there until it started going shh, and then you would change it. Yeah. I can't watch this anymore. And that goes to the same point. You'll sit there until the audio goes bad.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. It's so true.
So I'm assuming that Shure has always seen. I mean, I'm trying to figure out when this became so important for a company like Shure to kind of realize that we want to elevate this experience for users, and when they kind of got into the game and stuff like that, because experiential capture has been around for a long time, maybe not to the extent or the level it's at now. I think they're even getting into Atmos and stuff like that, and mixing into Atmos when they're broadcasting. But how did this all start? And how, and like in terms of tech and stuff like that?
I mean,
to the best of your knowledge.
I would argue, considering what Shure has done over the 100 years, that and how we've been focused on the customer over that whole time, we've been focused on the experience the entire time. I mean, you go to a concert, that's an experience.
True.
And we're there to assist and capture it. Going wireless, detaching that XLR cable and having the artist be able to perform differently on stage is part of the experience of the crowd, and we're there to assist in that. So at a very high level, I would argue Shure has been doing it the entire time.
Yes.
I think what has changed is more people are able to use the tools that we've already had to get more creative on the creative and content creation side.
Yes.
And we've created some tools along the way in the recent history that have been more assistant. I mean, just the podcast thing alone, right?
Yeah.
In the last decade, pre and post COVID, we've done some tools for this product. But the company, we've been focused on the experience, I would say, the entire time.
Yeah.
You can't stay around 100 years without being able to connect a few dots and get ahead of the puck.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I think from my perspective, coming from the broadcast area, is the whole revenue stream changed for broadcasters, right? And they had to get it was either die or innovate, right? And so I think we started to see, at least from the stories that I heard when I joined the team, is they started seeing A1s take arrays out of the conferencing space and carry them into the broadcast space and have a lot of success. And we're able to say, you know what, we can do that better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's always been products from any company that were intended for one thing and ended up being used another way, right? And when it comes to this array technology, when Shure first made it, there wasn't a specific target application for it in mind. And it just happened that it went into one particular market, but it didn't mean it didn't have a possibility in others.
Yeah.
And we'll get to this, I'm sure, soon. But to Everett's point, we had customers that saw the potential and took initiative to experiment. We heard about much of it, but it wasn't until recently that we were internally given the green light and the resources to kind of validate that at a larger scale and see if there was something there that we wanted to invest behind. And that was basically the last 4 years of experimentation.
And because workflows are changing in broadcast, and this fits perfectly into those workflows, I mean, it's the right time. Everything is just kind of the universe aligned, and it really did. Everything has come together with, the needing to come up with more revenue streams, needing to cut costs, needing things that are remotely steerable, remotely accessed. Like everything just kind of came together at one point. And that I don't think it was dumb luck. It couldn't have been, but it's definitely
good timing.
Somebody read the writing on the wall and took action.
So when you say, people start to experiment and that there was better ways of doing things, in front of us we have an array microphone, and traditionally for experiential capture, broadcast, whatever it may be, even live events, we've used, different types of microphones. We've used shotguns, parabolic, and now we're starting to see array microphones because we can do things better. Can you guys give us a couple of examples of, like you said, with the experiments, market research, how did this product come to life?
Well, as you said, shotguns and parabolics have been the primary. Parabolics have been around since Roman times. Shotguns started in the 50s, basically, and it hasn't really changed since. We had engineer friends, some A1s. I'll drop a few names. I hope they're okay with that. But in particular, a gentleman by the name of Dave Grunwig who has been very close with Shure for longer than I've been there. He was experimenting with some of the conferencing products. There's been some other engineers, I won't drop their name, but they've had projects, well-known projects, brands like NFL Films, even the NBA. Actually, all the leagues, I would say, have recently become very innovative in their capture and taking interest in doing things better and differently. They were all kind of experimenting with some of our our array technology. So it was happening, and we were hearing about it and seeing pictures of it from some of our regional offices around the world saying, hey, we had an engineer try this in this application. It worked really well. Do you know about this? And we're like, oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, cool idea.
Yeah, hope they buy some more.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like an official positioning or a marketing statement or anything like that. And then, so within the company, our product management leadership, Scott Sullivan, started a new group. He had been doing GPM for product management in some type of name in some way for 20 years or so. Started a new group called Strategy and Innovation. And in Shure's development process, in the very front end of all of our process, we do what we call the front end process, which is to take an advanced development form of an idea, hopefully semi-working, and take it out into the world and experiment with it and see if it sticks, see what works, work with a few key partners. We've worked with SF Marketing on that. We've worked with individuals on that. And we just get a very early concept to kind of like see if there's something there. And then usually that leads into writing a proper definition within the company to then get the company to get behind assigning resources to make the thing a reality. And we start a development process and go on from there. So this group, Innovation and Strategy, was given basically the freedom to do only that front end stuff, which gave us more time and some more money and more flexibility to fail and try things. And one of many things we're doing in that department was this array. There was other things we were doing, and I was assigned taking the array technology and now going back to the people who we heard were playing with it and going, hey, tell me more about why you did this, how you came across this, what problem did it solve for you, what are the benefits, why are you using it, what challenges you had, what can we do to make this a better product for you. And that was my job for a good year and a half, maybe. I can't remember. It's been a while. And that was very successful. A lot of big names I can't mention that we worked with and had our product behind the scenes in a prototype form. And the feedback was amazing. Brought all that back to the company, said, I think we got something here. Did the official paperwork and the definition writing and the approvals to then get greenlit to have a team to execute making it a product. And that's how we got to the 901, which by itself is a little bit of reuse and a whole lot of new software tailored for this application versus the conferencing application, which is where the array technology was first applied.
Yes.
Not invented, but first applied.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because we saw a little snippet today in the presentation of, well, first of all, for our viewers, let's step back even a little bit more.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a regular microphone?
I think we should, because nobody said so far what's the modal number of that new microphone. So
In the
maybe
intro, he didn't.
I did.
you said that. Okay, sorry about this. Sorry.
I always think of you, so that's why I had to say
But
it.
to Hugo's point, let's talk a little bit more. DCA901.
Yeah.
It's a planar array microphone.
Planar array.
Planar array, excuse me. Let's talk a little bit about the difference between a traditional microphone
All right.
and what makes this extra special.
I'm going to channel my technical engineer, Brent Schumard here, who has trained me well to speak correctly about this, and I may still get something wrong. So let me try this right. So what is an array microphone? You could argue in its most simplest form that anything with two or more capsules, you could argue is an array microphone. VP88, one of Shure's, I think it's a great stereo microphones, mid-side microphone, technically is an array microphone, although it only does stereo or mid-side. If you were to take multiple capsules, affix them in a known distance, so you have a fixed plane, you know the speed of sound, you could take, as audio hits each of those capsules, run the mathematical equation to then create a polar pattern. A 58 creates a polar pattern as a result of audio hitting it on the front side and then audio hitting it on the back side, and you know the time difference in that to create a cardioid pattern. I probably oversimplified that, but that's basically
No, it's good.
right?
We've got viewers of all levels
Right.
of technical knowledge, so it's important.
And we've got some really great, amazing analog condenser mics we recently come out with from one of our engineers, Roger, legendary within the company, that's solely based on analog acoustic principles. I mean, everything comes from that. And it's all started on paper by hand math. That's how this started. Going back to 1938, Ben Bauer, the same gentleman that invented the dynamic microphone, the 58, invented this in 1938 in the same book of notes.
That is so cool.
And I'm sure you guys will share this with you guys. There's a photo of his notes.
With the mathematical equation.
Basically the math and how and what an array microphone could be and what it could do if the technology ever became available, which at the time was not available, mainly because of the processing needed to do the math.
Right.
Shure then kind of dug it out. I'm getting my dates wrong, but it's in the deck in the presentation somewhere in the 2010s, I want to say, maybe 19s. I might be wrong on that. I have to check my notes. And the acoustics lab broke it out and then made a prototype. It was 4 feet in diameter, weighed like 200 pounds. It was not a productizable product,
Right.
But they were able to produce a microphone that steered invisible lobes. And it was awesome. And then that was kind of the early AD of it. And that was able to then be greenlit to make it more productizable, smaller, lighter, cheaper, manufacturable. And that is what started us on the path that we had with our array mics for the conferencing space. And then we got to this. Like I said, we did the validation of it outside of the conferencing space and within the strategy innovation group with certain partners under NDA, validated the technology and decided to go with a planar product first. Oh, taking a step back, sorry, planar versus linear. So linear microphone would be these elements lined up in a straight line, effectively, or in one dimension. And you can create basically an incredibly tight pattern the more you have. So if you go 2 elements, 4 elements, 8 elements, 16 elements, you get that tighter and tighter pattern in that dimension parallel to those elements. A planar array has basically the MEMS laid out in a specific pattern in 2 dimensions. So it could be a circle, square, combination of both. So in this particular product, for example, there's 78 elements. 78, albeit MEMS, very tiny microphones. There's 78 of them there. A ambisonic mic has elements that listen in a 3-dimensional spherical pattern.
360 degrees.
360 degrees spherical, not just 360 degrees in one X or Y or Z, but all the way around. And that's
right.
an ambisonic. And there's different orders, first order, second order, third order, based on how the fidelity of that capture. And those products exist already.
Right.
Well, first and second order ones, I should say. Third order ones are still kind of expensive and hard. So yeah, 58 single capsule, shotgun mic single capsule, VP88 2 capsules, array microphone many capsules, depending on what you're trying to do, and size. Like our larger ones have more elements than the smaller ones,
Right.
obviously. And basically, the difference between like this and the 2-foot version is basically low end rejection.
Okay. Gotcha.
And when you bring up trying to prove it out in different use cases,
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say we're still doing that to some degree, because people come up with incredible ideas all the time that we've never thought of.
Yeah.
And then we think to ourselves, we're going to try that. We're gonna
Yeah, they ask us, do you think it would work for this? And be like, yeah, I think it could. Let us know how it goes.
An engineer brought up a marching band, and we contacted several people to test it on a marching band. We found one in an enclosed space, which is exactly what we wanted, but we tested on
Heck.
how many decibels again?
114 they were hitting like, up in the balcony.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sounded good.
Yeah.
It's so funny that we're talking about you guys experimenting on this mic, and it's like, of course they would, because people have been doing that with regular microphones especially like as a studio musician, like a studio engineer or whatever. They're even to this day.
Yes.
They're still experimenting. So why wouldn't you? But I want to step it back just for the audience who's not aware. Experiential capture is basically, capturing audience mostly. This is where we can get into another topic, and we should go through it. But any type of crowd or field level ambient sounds and capturing that. And from the past, I think mostly it was shotguns. It's mostly been using shotguns, parabolic.
It depends on what you're capturing. Okay. I mean, like I said, ambisonic microphones are the traditional method of capturing in a space, especially if you're looking for taking that audio and reproducing it into a system, whether it's 5.1 dot whatever.
Yeah.
You need to have the channelization. Well, if you want to do it right, you want to have the individual channelization on the capture side, so you can then reproduce it and amplify it on the experience side, like a theater or a home theater, studio. So you could use shotguns. One of the problems with using shotgun mics or any microphone that is placed in multiple locations is you have your speed of sound problem. The sound is going to hit all of those elements at different times, so you have to time align them based on whatever you're trying to capture, and it's not really putting you necessarily like in a location. It's producing a space for you, but it's not like you're sitting here versus here.
That's right.
With an ambisonic product, you can put yourself exactly where that microphone is, and if you have multiple ambisonics, you can put them around and then have someone sit in that seat and then change the channel and they can sit in that seat because maybe that seat has a different sound or experience, and then combine that with your video capture. They got these immersive spaces. The video thing is amazing. Most of that stuff, though, the audio is not matching.
And it's not just capturing the environment, right?
No.
It's capturing specific sounds in an environment. And Dave Grundvig was quoted as saying his job is to capture subtle sounds in a hostile environment. And I think that that's a really great way to talk about it.
Yeah. And I think people take it for granted. I mean, you guys highlighted it perfectly in the presentation today of an audio recording where, it was a recording of, I think it was a hockey match. You heard the crowd, you heard the sticks hitting the ice.
You heard the PA.
The PA, heard the puck hitting the boards. Obviously we're talking about Canadian sports because we're in a Canadian podcast. But just to say, we heard that version, then we heard it with the DCA901, and it was amazing to hear the highlights and the important sounds, like you said.
Yeah.
Just the sticks, just the puck.
So in that example, it was actually also some DSP that we're working on. Yeah, so...
Sorry to add to that, too. There was also the soccer.
Yeah.
We did
the soccer one was the one that really stood out for me as well. That one, your example as well.
Yeah.
But I think to his point, you were mentioning just an ambient space, or Bill, you were mentioning an ambient space versus the DCA, where you're really focusing on details.
Yeah,
and you can do that because of the different, 8 different lobes that you can place and decide what you want to pick up. But what I'm trying to get to is, as an end user, we take it for granted when we're watching these, or when we're watching these sports or whatever it may be, these live shows. But then you realize how important that audio is in the mix to make it that full experience.
Yeah,
we're trying to get to.
Kind of talking about two different things here. You have capturing the space, which may or may not be stereo or greater, right? So you could have your basic stereo mix at home, or you could have a 5.1 dot whatever mix from that space, which can also be upconverted, faked. Which it often is, unfortunately, right? Yeah. That's one thing. But then you also need to, even just to create a good stereo mix, clean capture the things you want and less of the things you don't want. So in our conversation in the seminar today, we talked about, we gave both audio examples in basketball, hockey, and then the soccer example, or football, sorry. Where it was a combination of both the microphone technology that the Array offers in honing in on a targeted location and rejecting everything outside of that location, as a result of the technology of the microphone. And then with that, we also showcased some DSP that we're playing with that is running some AI algorithms that then are targeted on the sounds you want and remove the sounds you don't want.
Very cool.
And what's good about the DSP is that it'll work with any audio you put through it, but obviously the better the audio going in from something like this, the cleaner it's going to come out the other end, garbage in, garbage out, right? So we demoed kind of two things there. But the point was, I think, as an experience, to your point with the football game, I'm going to say that soccer, football. That's fine. I got to remember what country I'm in.
In Canada, we say soccer. That's
You do?
fine.
Okay. The thing you play with your actual foot. Until we had partnered with this product with a partner of ours, Edge Sound Research, I'd never heard a soccer game, whether it was on TV and definitely not at the arenas. I mean, when you go to a bar, they turn the sound off and you're just watching it because there's nothing to hear but crowd noise. What do you want? What do you want it to sound on for? Well, for the first time ever, you can now hear the kick, the grunts, the chatter. Some of it you might not want to hit here from a chatter standpoint, so that'll have to be sussed out by the broadcaster.
An AI swearing removal tool is in the future.
It's no different than your hockey sport. There's a lot of chatter going on there you don't want to hear either, right?
It's
so
true.
I mean,
I want everything else gone, and I just want to hear that.
right. The banter. But the point is, we've got a sport that has never been heard in the history of the sport unless you've been watching your kids' YMCA team because there's no one there. I mean, I don't think soccer has ever been heard. And for the first time, I think, and I'm excited that maybe for the World Cup, people might actually hear the game for the first time.
You know what's interesting about that is I had a chance to listen to, the same for me. So if you've ever played like FIFA World Cup on PS5, it makes it sound like that. It's really cool, and it really brings you into the game. And Edge Sound does a really good job where they can also take the existing shotguns and run those to their software, and it sounds better.
Not as good as the Array.
Not as good as Array. And it like almost makes you mad when you, even though it sounds better, just because it's like you gave me this like really amazing experience, and now
You take it away.
he's taking it away.
It's funny,
But that's not their fault. That belongs that belongs on the.
I was showing my dad, FIFA 2025 on the PS5, and the first thing he said was, "Wow, it feels like you're in the stadium." It wasn't even like, look at the graphics. You can see the guy's hair moving while he's dribbling with the ball. It was like, wow, it feels like you're in the stadium. And it's an important part, whether we're watching it on TV, playing it in a game. That experiential capture is so important.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to, traditionally, like we said, we wanted to bring the game to the fan, but now we want to take the fan and put them into the game.
Yeah. Very well said.
Yeah.
That's. I wanted to touch. So what's really cool, and I'd love for you guys to share a little bit more. What I really liked is pairing that with the Edge. Can you talk a little bit more to the audience who doesn't quite know about what happens when you pair this beast with?
I think first we should really talk about how the lobes reject sound, right? I think we should talk about what the mic actually does.
Start at the beginning of the audio chain.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
So let's do that.
So the microphone itself creates 8 virtual lobes with the MIMS that Bill was mentioning earlier, and the algorithm created. I hope Brett, I don't get a nasty email from Brett.
I'll correct you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Has its own internal DSP, but those lobes are really good at rejecting outside noise. So unlike a shotgun that's going to kind of bring noise in from behind and more noise on the side, it'll kind of reject the outside noise a little better. And you'll get tighter sound in the specific areas that you want. Now it has its own built-in DSP, its own auto mixer, its own noise reduction, its own EQ, compression, delay, all built into the microphone. The microphone, you could set a couple of these up and they'll mix a game for you, right?
Nice.
But with Edge Sound,
well, it'll mix the game for you, assuming that it's mixing the sounds you want.
right?
Gotcha. And with soccer or football, there is a whole lot of sound that is not the game. I mean, the crowd section, the vuvuzelas, the drums, it's a loud experience. And I mean, the PS20, football I don't play video games. Sorry, PS25.
PS5, FIFA
25.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hearing stuff in there that you actually aren't going to hear at a game.
No, it's true.
Which is the kicks. You're not hearing the kicks and players.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting to, right? So it's a you want to kind of pare everything down to a smaller footprint, and then with the more energy you let me cut there. But the more energy you bring into an arena, the auto mixer doesn't know what to open or what to close, right? And
It's dumb.
because it's just well, I mean, there's so much energy. It's like it's all around me. It's everywhere.
Yep, right.
So what Edge Sound does really well is they can take the existing tracking software that exists in almost every venue, and they can follow the action and isolate that specific lobe and open that specific lobe. So again, then you're maintaining the energy. You are picking up those subtle sounds because they're right in the line of sight, right where you want them. So in that instance, like if you put shotguns all around the entire pitch, it'd be insanity. But with this and with Edge Sound Research, you can put these to create a sound field all the way around the pitch, and you will hear everything that happens in the moment it happens and the space that it happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is super impressive.
Very impressive.
And they're doing it for other sports too. It's not just football. And there's what's great opportunity is as this business has changed for the content creators, the rights owners, there's opportunity with the combination of these these pieces to have additional revenue streams potentially for them. Like, would you like to listen and pay as a fan of Messi and listen to the Messi channel, which is the audio stream following him as he plays?
Yeah.
And that can be done now. You can have the general broadcast feed that everyone hears, but I can have my player X favorite feed that's been created as a result of the technologies combined. So whether a team or a league or a venue chooses to do that, we'll see. But now we're at that potential and they've already, at least in the tracking aspect, they've already invested in that, which wasn't cheap to do for other values. But now we are coming in saying that thing you already invested in, you can get more out of your investment now just by adding us. And we're way cheaper than that investment.
Wow. Imagine hearing Messi's audio track while he's playing, calling for the ball.
He'd go back and listen to it.
Exactly.
Well, even like, in the States, like halftime shows during NCAA games are huge, right? And really, grandparents or people who live out of state want to watch their kid and hear their kid. You could really isolate a tuba player. You could, have the whole, and those could be premium tiers on an app, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
There's a lot of way to think about this. There's a lot of different ways to generate different revenue streams, and people are really jumping into it.
It's another level. Yeah. And that seems to be another trend. Everybody wants to be the inside, have the inside, whether it's a membership for a specific player, and they're like that whole that whole fan base for whatever it is. It's huge.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about sports, I mean, just to give some viewers some specific examples, where would you place a DCA901 in a typical arena? Some use cases.
Yeah, so there's been, I can talk about the technology where it's been placed already, like not just the 901, and I can talk about where we placed it, in our experimentation and validation. So to date, the 901, the array technology, starting with one of the conferencing models, the 910 it was called, MXA 910, has been placed in a number of places around the world. We've seen it on TV shows. Venues like Cowboy Stadium has it in their Jumbotron.
Oh, wow.
Your Scotiabank in Toronto.
Yeah.
Shout out to them for being innovators. Put it in their Jumbotron for the Raptors and Maple Leafs. Two of them, actually. So the array technology, there's been a number of TV shows that have had it as the primary capture. There's one TV show in particular that documented preseason football. I won't mention what it is, but it had 70 or 80 arrays to capture all the different rooms that the team and management were meeting in, because they couldn't have any ENG location sound guys in the room. Cameras were on PTZ, and the arrays were placed out so that no matter what direction they looked, it captured the audio, and they got great broadcast quality. So there's been a lot of stuff
And they found that the players were a lot more candid because there's not a microphone in their face, right? So you hold back, but when there's not a microphone on you, there's not one in
You
your
aren't being
face.
listened to. Conversations are there.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something about maybe a poker game. Maybe.
Yeah. I was going to say, well, getting to where we were testing the 901. So again, partnering with really great innovative brands like the NBA. Were allowing us to validate it at some of their summer league games. So we did basketball. We've done Major League Baseball has been incredibly supportive. We validated at a number of Major League games. We talked about
NBC
soccer.
Bay Area.
NBC Bay
really
Area.
Great working with us.
They are also very innovative in what they've been doing and ahead of the curve on doing crazy things, even flying drones inside above the fans for some of the basketball or hockey games. They've been very supportive and happy with it.
Chicago Sports Network has been a really
CHSN
great.
has been a great partner, our backyard in Chicago. Yep. And then you mentioned the poker thing. We had it at a poker event in Vegas, and we had it at one of the final 3 tables, and we placed the microphone above, and typically they lob up their players. The downside of that is you have to pay really close attention to where your packs are going because the players will just walk off to the bathroom, to the bar, or all the way back to their hotel room if they're not having a good day. And that microphone is on, or that $2,000 body pack is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're done.
So they on this particular day they put our array up, and we set out the lobes across the seats, 8 lobes, and didn't mic the players with lavs. And the director said it was great. They loved it. They gave us an A-. And I was like, A-? Well, I wasn't expecting an A, but why a minus? So 2 things. One, it was great sound. So good that the players didn't think they were mics. So the commentary, the banter was very colorful. So from a director and production standpoint, they got much better content.
Entertainment value.
Yes, entertainment value. Thank you. It was not a PG show, I should say. And then the minus came from the fact that, well, the lobe is going to pick up whatever is in the lobe.
Right.
So what else was in the lobe pointing down? The chips. So they heard a lot more chip sound than you would with a lav up here. But thankfully we have DSP tools that if we choose to, we could fix that later.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. So this is my nerdy part. I was watching the presentation earlier this morning. I was like, the positioning of that DCA was right above them. I'm wondering
Correct.
if it was placed at a slightly off angle. I'm wondering if the lobe would have just picked up them and not so much the chip. Do you think that would have been the case?
You technically probably could have steered it in such a way that their head was like just on the cusp of the beam,
Okay.
where it kind of terminated here.
You're saying if
Like higher
up,
just
correct.
in that
Yeah.
flashlight
Okay,
beam.
okay.
Yeah, like if we had put it more offset,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Okay,
Then you
okay.
would have had a sharper angle.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
And
gotcha.
that, unfortunately, the mounting location we had
Yeah.
to play with didn't offer that. But yes, so great point. Like any microphone, I mean, this is especially a big thing for studio guys, right? We all know that you would think where to mic an instrument might not be where you should mic the instrument. So use your ears, right? Same thing with this. You know, your angle of attack, that invisible beam that you can't see, needs to be kind of in your mind and pictured to assist in location and placement. So that technically could have helped, but.
Bill, I don't know much about poker, but I know a lot about soccer. So if you need help at FIFA or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'll happily come help you out. It's not a problem. We can talk about lobe location and all that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the most fun events I think was the Armored MMA, which
just
was
did that, yeah.
it's
Armored
just as
MMA.
just as cool as it sounds. MMA fight, but they're wearing 80 to 100-pound suits of armor, carrying swords and maces and axes.
God.
In the
And
octagon.
they go hard. They go hard. And one of the fighters, she happened to be standing next to me, so I was like, "Hey, do you want to take a listen?" And she put it on, and she was like, "Oh my God, that sounds beautiful." She goes, "I can actually tell where they're being hit." Because the sound was so detailed, she could, by hearing it, just tell where they were being hit on their body.
And that was just one DCA901 in the
Just
middle
one.
of the
Yeah.
octagon. Wow.
And I'm sure if people viewing this at home must be like, like it's just like feeling everything.
Maybe I don't want to hear
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
Everyone's YouTubing armored MMA right now. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I heard that they just landed a deal with Fox, so it'll be it'll be expanding.
One of the very first sports that this got used online and live, which we were a little nervous about because we were so early on in the testing, was actually boxing, and it was amazing. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I coming from my film background, I know that doing Foley work or whatever, just the whole sound, just adding sound and good sound. And I'll give an example like Top Gun Maverick or whatever. Sure. It just brings up the experience. So I can just imagine when you're doing like a armored MMA or even boxing, and just hearing those punches and stuff. Yeah. I mean, that just elevates the amount of how you feel.
The entire experience.
Yeah, if you think about the movies have a really major advantage is the fact that they have so much time in post to fix the audio.
Yeah.
Or as best they can. When you're live, you don't have that option.
But you know what? So like, I want to talk about film for a second because we talked about this earlier. I think it's really cool. Like you could get using different AI tools now, and I think the film industry is kind of doing it backwards where they're thinking about AI in place of artists, right? But I think you can use it to supplement the artist and let it so that you can give them space to do what they do best, right? But right now, everything is kind of tethered to you have to hit your spot for lighting and for audio and all that. Imagine if all that went away and you could just utilize AI, right? And you could change your environment. You can change your lighting cues with AI as your actor is moving into different sets, and you're programming that. You're controlling that, but you're utilizing the AI to make those subtle changes.
That's right.
And the same with sound, the same with audio, right? Imagine how better the performances would be. We have some pretty incredible performances now, right? Imagine if you give them the space to actually just be in character and just do what they do best. Like, how cool would that?
Yeah. Especially technology has advanced so much right now that the processing is so fast. So like you said, I think technology is, I don't know to which extent, but it could adapt very quickly to a change of environment, like you were mentioning. So I think that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Didn't mean to derail that.
No. I think that was fantastic. One thing you did mention, I think we should bring it up, what it's not, and what it doesn't do at this time, anyways.
Right.
Which is sound reinforcement. Because I think the first thing we think about all the time is how cool is this? How cool and precise and captures everything, and it does it so well.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be good for sound reinforcement?
I'll caveat that with an asterisk because it was actually used in the MMA event in sound reinforcement. They were piping the audio back in the room.
Wow.
So I shouldn't say that it's impossible. What I want to caveat people is, you have problems today with any of the analog cardioid mic 58, what have you, solutions where you can get feedback, right? Incorrect placement on stage, incorrect EQing, what have you, and it's a problem. And that takes someone who with some experience to do correctly. This is so sensitive at what it's steered at, even with its rejection, but it's so great at capturing what it's pointing at that if it's a reflective surface in a PA of a room, it's going to reflect that and capture it, and then it's going to create that feedback loop. So we have tested it. It can be done. It's just a little bit more sensitive and difficult that for now, maybe not the best thing. Experiment carefully. Don't depend on it. Maybe have a backup. But I do hope, given some of the plans that we have for this category, that we'll add some tools. Maybe that could make that a more easier application to go for. There shouldn't be a reason why we couldn't do it moving forward. But just in its current state, it's like. I know how to prevent feedback with most microphones, and I had to work hard.
I will add that, since I've been on the team since April, I have heard probably don't use it for that application several times. And we found ways.
Yeah. I always err on the side of under promise, over deliver, and set expectations, correctly.
Yeah.
There are people who are perfectly knowledgeable that will that will make it work.
There are even people, if you say you can't do it that way, they will do it that way just to show you I can.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I can't.
Yeah, exactly. But we have lots of environments that it's being used in live and studio, TV studio captures for live news to studios or sports events. We've got some artists that are using it as mic ambient pickup of the crowd for their in-ears. Lots of examples of crowd capture for broadcast, recording, archival, what have you. There's a lot of
the in-ear, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I mean, those of us who have done monitors have mic'd the crowd for the artist to give them their spatial experience, right? Because that's the worst thing about going in ears, you lose that feeling of being on stage, right? Your ears are amazing, protect your hearing, consistent sound, but the one drawback is you're closed, right? And there's of course products that do that built in at a steep price. So the traditional way is throw up a shotgun or two, probably far stage left and right, and it works, but it's
Throw it
still
into the mix.
Yeah, it's still not right, especially if you got one fan that's just screaming right in front of that microphone. That now has to come out of the mix for everyone, and you're shot, right? So what this can do, especially with its 8 lobes, is you can create a much wider image and channelize it such that it's not just this area and this area, but it's this whole area. You can, the 2 outside ones are panned harder, left or right. Then the inside ones are a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, and bring that into the mix using the stereo out or just into the console, feed it into the mix of the ears, and now you're getting a more better fidelity in that space than you would with just a shotgun here and a shotgun here.
I was actually going to ask you that. So, like, before we're talking about kind of going after, I think you brought a good point. The microphone can be used for ambience and details. Yeah, and that's kind of 2 things that you guys kind of separate, right? When we're talking about experiential capture,
right?
So technically, even a mic like a DCA901. You can actually position it close to, let's say we're talking about football/soccer or something that...
Whatever sport.
Yeah, exactly. You can actually position it. Would you think you'd be able, because it's outputting in Dante and AES 67, you think you'd be able to create a 2-channel where it's the detail of the field and another channel, the ambient of the crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So the 8 lobes can be positioned anywhere you want, and they can be overlapped as well. You can leverage them as direct outs, or you can leverage them as the auto mix out. And you can also do native 5.1 capture on this. That is, like talked about the shotgun mics, having to align them from a speed of sound delay that happens. Well, they're all co-located, so there's no problem of having a time align. So everything is time aligned. You just use it, and then you can use the 5.1 channels. You can use 2 channels for stereo. You can take a mix of 1 channel for your mono, whatever you want to do, or mix it down. So yeah, you could, for example, fan out 5 channels wide and create a wide stereo image. And then you got 3 more lobes to use. You could take 3 lobes and position them semi-overlapping that, but maybe a little bit different configuration, and do a stereo with a center channel, or just use 2 lobes semi-wide on top of that and just do your stereo channels. So channels 1 and 2 could be the stereo, and channels 3 through 7 could be your wide immersive image.
That's very cool.
And overlap
all
them.
Through a Cat 6 cable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think that, and you mentioned before that it's in like the perfect time because workflows are getting better.
Yeah.
And I believe
they're changing, they're evolving.
Yeah, they're evolving.
Yeah.
And you think that helps, like just with the way that it's outputting and it's getting all the information back to, technically, like you guys mentioned, like A1s, those guys working on those mobile trucks. It's like A1.
The people are working really hard that you don't see.
Exactly.
And there's not enough of them in the world right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was going to say, because technically now the audio is on the network. It's going through Dante or AES 67. You can route this
anywhere
you want. So it's changing the workflow to your exact point.
But the guys are still using boards that are not really...
Well,
they're digital, but they're not.
Think about it. If you utilize the auto mixer or you utilize something like Edge Sound Research, right? Your footprint of your console can get way smaller.
Yeah.
Right. And you're managing a lot less. And then you can do, as an A1, I always say this, you can focus on what your main job is, which is you are a storyteller. You are part of that broadcast, and you are telling the auditory story that's happening right there on the field. And you can focus on that because you have an extra set of hands, which you need, because you're managing 100 channel
or
count.
You're not trying to fight the PA or fight the crowd.
Right.
If this helps bring the crowd noise down and captures the sounds of the game, well, now I can actually mix the crowd back in to now have my sounds above the mix. It's just like when you're doing music and stuff, you want to have that vocal above the mix, right?
Yeah.
If that vocal's buried in something, you don't have the tools to pull it out.
Yeah. That's great.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's not a, in this day and age of technology, some of the things that, this is the same for studios and live sound. Some things are just best done a simple way, in an acoustic way. Don't use necessarily DSP to fix it or EQ to fix it.
Yeah.
Right. If you got a good sounding mic, you don't have to EQ it. Then that's why you pick that mic for snare and this mic for tom. And I mean, that's why we all use mics for different things by different brands. There isn't a mic that does everything. This isn't a mic that does everything.
Yeah. You don't always want to fix it in post.
and I'm not going to quote Everett's quote. I'll let him say his own quote about the sound.
Oh, the least interesting thing about this mic is how good it sounds. And I don't say that to say that it doesn't sound good.
I don't think we heard that one today. That was good.
It does sound good. But it really is. It can do so many things. It's so flexible. It can fit into so many different workflows. It really is a modern day microphone for modern day workflows. It really is. And that's when we visit clients or we visit people who want to demo this, or if they're just hearing about it for the first time, or we want to test, the first thing they say right away is like, "Oh, I could use this here. I could use this here." I mean, when we met with Big Ten Network, all of a sudden they came up with 10 different use cases, and we were trying to brainstorm with us, and we're like, "It's you."
Try it. Let us know. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just I will get a plug in here that, for sure, this is just the first of many things to come. This was a quick turn project, if you will, to get the technology out there and define a new category, not only for Shure, but we think for the market. Array technology is not new, but what we're doing with it, I would argue, is new. So we're glad to be first with something like this for these applications. But we have much more to come. Market willing, customers willing to receive it.
And something that kind of was birthed through a conferencing system.
I mean, SM studio microphone, SM58.
Yeah.
No one uses it in the studio anymore. Well, a couple of people do, but
Look at the SM7B. It's being used on podcasts when it was released years ago for vocals and all kinds of stuff. And
you guys probably have already done podcasts on this, but there's some really legendary recordings where the vocal that's on the album is a 57 or an SM7 or a 58. It wasn't, they recorded it with those fancy condensers that were also present, but in the end, what did they use? They used the $100 microphone. Yeah. And that's what's on the rock album. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, But this is it's exciting. It's exciting times, and this officially started shipping this week, so there's a little bit of a sigh of relief, to get it through that gate. But there's still a lot of pressure on just getting education, getting the word out there, understanding the technology. Dante is not prevalent everywhere.
No.
Well, we don't know when people will be watching this, so let's say it started shipping in December.
December 1st. Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
2025.
And we were talking about the applications and different use cases for it, and how incredible the quality is. And I want to say, out of us four, I probably have the least amount of technical knowledge when it comes to experiential capture. But even today during the presentation, when you're showing us the web GUI, the discovery application, for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience, I was like, okay, I can figure this out. Even how easy it was to place those lobes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that I think we need to talk about, because it was really impressive to see. Like I said, for someone that doesn't have a lot of experience with that, I felt comfortable saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to experiment with this.
There is an intuitive feel to it, and I think they did a great job of providing that. But there is a learning curve to it, because it is a little different than what you're used to. And
Well, you're dealing with something that you can't see, and you're trying to place it in an environment that you're not sitting in, and point it at something that is moving or not moving, or you're trying to hit a specific point and you can't see it. I mean, whether it's a camera or a shotgun mic, point and shoot, right? This you put up there. The good news is it's very forgiving. I mean, it doesn't have to be oriented exactly right, because you'll just end up steering everything within the software.
Right.
But to get that through to someone and do it in a way that's not going to be a burden to what is already a very limited time day. Mm-hmm. They don't need more stress. They don't need more work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give yourself some time and grace. Don't do it. Don't do it on your.
But the good news is, even if someone's using this for the first time, I mean, we did a lot of work on making sure that this could inject into the workflows with as minimal disruption as possible, and provide enough benefit that the little disruption that is occurring, a little bit of learning curve out of the box you have to do, that it's giving you something for that extra 10 minutes it took to be like, okay, I got to open up the GUI. Okay, the software's there, steer it. Like, once you do it the first time, it comes quickly, and that was on purpose. It's not seamless, but
I was impressed.
We were hopeful that the result of that little extra effort the first time would pay off and tenfold then as you integrate it into your normal workflow.
We did during the presentation today see one of the mistakes that I've made with the presets, and because you can create presets for whatever you want to capture, you can spread the lobes
tomorrow.
up.
I'm doing that, right?
Yeah. And then for me, I got so excited that I got all the lobes exactly where I wanted them. I saved my preset, and then I changed my gain structure and my I did all the other things after the fact and never resaved it. So then when I had to reload it
on a digital console,
when I had to reload it, I lost everything because the gain wasn't correct, and I started panicking.
It happened.
What do they teach you on digital consoles? Make a session file before you start programming, and save.
Right. But do you ever do that? Nobody ever does that.
No,
Come on.
Yes, you do.
Maybe Hugo does it. Hugo's used to it.
You do it.
If you don't do it the first time, you're never going to do it again.
But you do it every time until the time you needed to do it, and that's when you didn't.
It's like hitting record when you're recording a podcast. You just got to make sure you hit that record button. We know a little bit about that. Yeah.
Three times.
Right? That's awesome.
That's terrible. All right.
Yeah.
That's a new podcast right there, Beneath the Rack, where you just lands on top of you and
just crying under the rack.
all the stories where things have just gone off the rails.
Yeah, we've got them. We've all got them.
It's funny. Every podcast we do, we're always like, "Hey, that's another episode. Hey, that's another episode. That's another episode." And we'll get to that.
We've been present testing this and have witnessed some amazing things hit the fan. I'll tell one story really quick. 4th of July fireworks for Macy's 4th of July fireworks in New York, 2024. I don't know if anyone knows this, but they're counting down 10, 9, 8. All wireless and comms went down. Wow. That's a live show. That's timed.
Oh my God.
Right? Because they got fireworks to go off, and there's live music. It all went down. Someone had tripped a plug or something, and it took down multiple channels of audio.
Vince, were you in New York that weekend? No? Okay.
I hit record that day.
This was being tested, and it was used as the 5.1 capture for that broadcast. So one of our representatives, Brent, was there, and he witnessed this whole thing, and he just witnessed panic. And the director, producer for that show, I think she does SNL. She had to basically re-time the entire show while they fixed whatever happened, and I think it was about 8 minutes they were down, and she should have won an Emmy, because behind the scenes she is reprogramming the show so that they were back on track to end when the fireworks had to go.
Wow.
And that whole that 8 seconds before going live, the whole production crashed.
I always say in broadcast, we don't make our money for things to go smoothly. No. We make our money when everything goes off the rails, and it's how we get through it and make sure the user, the viewer at home doesn't notice. Literally, everything's on fire behind us, and we're just putting those out one fire at a time.
No one sees how the sausage is made or that a finger fell into the sausage.
As long as it tastes good at the end of the day.
And, I think that's what this podcast is about, right? Behind the Rack. It's everything that you don't see behind the scenes, whether it's some of the products that we're using, the people that are working so hard day and night to make that magic happen. I think it's important that we highlight those people.
Absolutely.
Especially in the North American industry and Canada specifically for us.
And our partners.
Like that.
Absolutely.
Tested into the weirdest ways, and then it ends up being a market.
Everett spending his nights at Armored MMA. It's important.
And I'll just put a plug for the broadcast market out there is that they are lacking new blood joining the behind the scenes of these productions. There isn't enough people to do the work to produce the content you're seeing on TV or on your phone or on your whatever you're browsing, Hulu. There is not enough in the I can't speak for anything but the audio world, but I know in the audio world there is a serious shortage of people wanting to do the job and able to do the job. So,
and if they want to keep the experience alive, then we're gonna need more of those guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
If I know what I know now, years ago, it may be a different path.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming today. We really appreciate all the stories, the behind the scenes. We really we're super impressed with the product. Obviously, that goes without saying. But thank you for taking the time for coming
Hopefully
today.
we can come back when we have the next items in this portfolio.
We're teasing new product. I like that.
We'll do a little recap of, what's next. Because, like I said, this is just one technology that we're doing.
Cliffhanger for the viewers.
And maybe there's more ways, since now it's shipping, maybe there's new innovative ways this thing has been deployed in.
Hopefully people can comment, maybe there's some sightings, how people always do like sightings and send photos. And, put a sighting if you see this set up somewhere.
We love that. We love it. Where in the world is DCA901?
Seen in the wild.
We love that
amazing
stuff.
That's so funny.
I don't know. I did want to say, I think it's kind of important to say that this is maybe, you can't think of this as your traditional Shure product, and as far as like it being rugged, and you can't hammer a nail with this. It's. I don't know if you guys want to cut this out or keep it in, but I think it's important to talk about.
This is a computer.
This is basically like a laptop in a metal grate, so you have to handle, you have to baby it a little bit.
There's some intelligence behind it. It's not just a microphone.
I mean, I for sure wouldn't try to hang it on a magnet on a door and just let it drop. I wouldn't do that. But
I understood they were using it as a shield in the Armored MMA. They did it.
I see people trying to warm pizzas on it.
People think it's a shower head. There's been lots of
I like that idea, though. If you see a DCA901 in the wild, send us a picture.
Tag it.
That's the shower. Expensive shower head.
There's no hot water coming out.
Amazing. Hugo, do you mind just, or Bill, do you mind just scrolling up just a bit? And I'm going to do the outro. Okay, perfect. There you go. No, right there. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys, once again. It's cool even just discussing this trend, and it's something that, like I said, I just recently popped up on my YouTube feed, and now I got you guys in here, and we're talking about the DCA901, and it's exactly for that. It's like the timing was perfect, and I think a lot of people, I think hopefully this episode will get more appreciation, people's appreciation for all the events or anything that happens on TV and stuff like that, and I think that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So if you've enjoyed this episode, hit that like, smash that subscribe, share the episode with a colleague or an AV fan, and help us spread the word. We'll be back with more stories, insights, and conversations from the worlds of pro audio, live sound, and systems AV. So until then, keep the curiosity alive, and we'll catch you the next time on Behind the Rack.
I'll be your love. I'll be your sunshine. I'll be your love. I'll be your sunshine.